General shipping advice. Get somebody else to pay for it. You're already familiar with FedEx and UPS and the good old US Postal Service. If somebody else is fitting the bill and they have all of the money in the world, Craters and Freighters is a specialty service that will build a crate and ship your art, possibly even in refrigerated trucks if you pay for it. They do amazing work and charge appropriately. For the rest of us, you're probably going to want to shop around. Use the online postage estimators for each of the major carriers. You'll need to know the dimensions, height by width by depth, or they'll ask you for the long side and then the circumference of the two other sides. You'll need to know the weight, weigh yourself holding your crate, put the crate down, weigh yourself again, and subtract those two numbers, and then round up a little bit. You don't want to quote a price that turns out to be too low. You'll need to know the to and from zip codes. Check the price in both directions. For some carriers, there's a big difference in price depending on whether you're going from west to east or east to west. When you're shipping, you need to make sure that there is a street address, not a P.O. box, if you're using anything other than the postal service. And if you're insuring it a lot, you'll need someone on the other end to sign. Factor into your pricing that wooden crates will require an additional handling charge. Insurance can be tricky. You want to ask the gallery if their insurance will cover it in transit. If it doesn't, you could ask your home or renter's insurance company for a short-term rider to cover the art in transit. Otherwise, you're going to have to pay the shipper. They change their rules all the time, but there are various points in my career where shipping companies would not insure art. So you had to describe the work as something other than an original artwork. The phrase decorative wall hanging got used several times. Printed materials, textiles, and any number of other euphemisms can help you to get around this, but I'd be surprised if they actually paid out if you fudged the description on the insurance form. There are two schools of thought on the insurance. One is that it's probably not worth it because your carrier is going to do their best to be reliable. And the other is that if you pay for insurance, they'll be extra special careful. I'm not sure which is true, but I've gotten into the habit of insuring work for half of its retail value, the same amount that a gallery would send if they sold it. Finish your art, build your crate, and send it early so that you can send it at the slowest and therefore cheapest rate. And if you've got a solo show or otherwise are sending a lot of work, run the numbers and see if it's actually going to be cheaper for you to take it yourself. Either in your car, or for just a few pieces, you could check the crates as stowed luggage, and different weight limits will affect the price, but it's possible that it would be cheaper for you. We're looking at an installation of Leonardo Drew's work at the Blaffer Gallery down at the University of Houston. When I was in grad school, he came up to Pratt and gave an artist talk. Someone in the audience asked him a question about his installation, noting that they frequently referenced the grid. Leonardo Drew responded by talking about modularity and the idea that any of the pieces could theoretically extend infinitely in any direction, and the way in which this would transform the viewer into feeling like they were part of an overwhelming matrix. And then he paused, smiled, and said, plus a lot of the stuff is in a grid because that's how I can break it down and fit it into my car. As he's gone on to have his work collected by larger and more significant institutions, such as the Arm & Hammer Museum here at UCLA, apparently he's gotten over the grid thing. Probably somebody else is paying for the shipping. A reminder of the possibility for terminal-to-terminal shipping, where Greyhound takes it from one bus station to another, and then somebody else will pick it up on the other side. It's inconvenient, but it might save you money. If you're shipping internationally, plan on it languishing in customs for a really long time. Also, see if you can figure out on the internet how much it's going to cost to pay those customs. When we talk about grants, we're going to distinguish between awards that just give you money because you're cool and what are called project grants, funds for a specific purpose. As an artist, you will never lack for projects that need funding because shipping your art and yourself to your various art openings will give you grant fodder for years.